Hey, good evening. It's Wednesday evening. I'm in California. It's about 6:24 p.m. my time in California. By now, Hawk Talk with Dolphin and Gary. Hawk Talk with Gary Dolphin and Kirk Ferentz has ended. So this is a good time for me to go live. Not going to talk about that today, though. We're going to talk about a preview of the women's basketball season coming up. It's going to be an exciting one. They return all five starters back. Uh, and so this is the third year in a row all five starters are back on the team. Big things are expected of them. As you know, they won the Big Ten regular season and the Big Ten tournament last year. Um, they had in the round of 32, they had a quick out in Creighton. I call it. I think the first name of the girl was Molly. She was a former Hawkeye. I think it was Molly Jansen or something like that. She was a former Hawkeye who upended the Hawkeyes tournament run. She just got hot against the Hawkeyes. She had transferred from Iowa to Creighton, and everybody knows that story. Iowa women opened the season this Friday night with a exhibition game against Nebraska Kearney. I don't know a lot about Nebraska Kearney, but I'm going to expect that the Hawkeyes, even though it's an exhibition game, should win this exhibition handily. But because I don't think it goes on their record, Hawkeyes may try a few things on that group. But let's just talk about what this team is expected. Like I said, they're ranked number 4 in the season. Uh, hmm, okay, let's get. So here we go. They're gonna some things we want to know about what's going on. Okay. So the game does tip off at 6:31 Central Time at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Um, so anyway, this is the highest preseason ranking the Iowa women's team has ever had. It's also the second highest ranking in program history. Okay, just to keep that going, and they have been in the preseason top 10 consecutive seasons for the fifth time in school history, um, and the first time during Coach Bluter's tenure. There is we affectionately know them as Bluter's bunch. Okay. The Hawkeyes are returning all five starters from a year ago, as we said, but that's also from 2 years ago too. Um, and we already know that they won. They earned the number 2 seed in the tournament last year, but as everybody knows, they went out early. Caitlin Clark is probably one of the most exciting basketball players ever at Iowa women's history, even in men's history, maybe. Is picked preseason player of the year. Is she and her teammate Monica Cernano are both recognized ununanimously by the coaches and the preseason all conference team. You guys will remember Monica Cernano averaged about 20 some points a game last year and rebounds and stuff. And I'll tell you one thing about her she got off to a slow start in her career, but since Caitlin's been there and been feeding her the ball underneath, she has improved so much. She has come to the point where um, people love watching Caitlin or anybody else pass the ball to Monica underneath, and Monica gets those great layups. And so Hawkeyes have posted 3 undefeated seasons at home, and over the last 8 years have dropped the second lowest regular season home games in Big Ten. There are some new players on Iowa's 22-23 roster that Iowa has. Um, Molly Davis, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. Jada Gamify, Taylor McCabe, and Hannah Stolinki, I think is how you say her name. Here's what I know. Molly Davis is gonna come in, and her whole purpose. She came in. She's a fourth-year player, but she played her first 3 seasons at Central Michigan. She averaged 18 points there, and I believe against Iowa last year, she scored 20 points in the game against Iowa. Um, but now she's a Hawkeye, and her sole purpose is she's going from a starter and being a star on the Hawkeye team. I mean, on the Central Michigan team to going to be a backup. Her sole role is basically to back up Caitlin Clark and maybe play some off guards. This is according to Lisa Bluer. She can hit the three. She can handle the ball. Overall, she's going to be, when Caitlin can't be out of the game or gets in foul trouble, this girl's going to pick up the scoring slack, and so that's going to be fantastic. This Hannah Stilinski, I understand. I don't know a lot about her, but Lisa said tonight on the radio show that she's a heck of a rebounder, and um, I think she's almost like a center. I think she's like a center or something like that. Like I said, they're freshmen, but she said that both Molly and Hannah would get a lot of playing time as newcomers. Okay. And so we all know. Okay. All right. So anyway, with Iowa having being voted currently in the AP poll fourth place, there's a lot of pressure on this team, but they're welcoming it. They really are. Bluter is 463 and 247 losses for a winning percentage is basically 66%, and so that's really good. Check before you guys go if you're going to the game Friday night. There is a little bit of a parking switch on that, but I won't go into that. Okay, so we just want to go over the roster a little bit here. So we got the Molly Davis, which we just talked about, Taylor McCabe, Sydney Alfalter. It doesn't say what year she is, but she's 5'11", so I'm going to think she's a center. Kylie Furubach. Okay, she's a guard listed at 6'0", but I'm going to tell you one thing. She's not playing this year. She's been injured. I think she tore an ACL, so she's out for this season, which is too bad. Do you guys remember she was like usually the first player off the bench last year to help out in any guard situation, and she's a transfer from Iowa State, so things not looking great for her at this point. But I mean, she'll be back next year, we hope. We got Shatay Watering. She's a forward at 6'0". McKenna Warnock, who is a starter. Kate Martin, who is a starter, listed at guard. Caitlin Clark, of course, is a guard, and she's listed as a starter. Jaden Gamify, as we talked about before, is going to be a forward. Right, she's listed at 6'1". Listed at 5'9" is Gabby Marshall, another starter. She led the team in steals, and she was pretty deadly with the 3-point. She could get hot on the 3-point shot. But she's probably one of the toughest defenders. According to Lisa, Gabby usually takes on the toughest guard that they got, the hardest guard to guard on the team. Okay. Then of course there's Monica Sonano, listed as forward center, but usually plays center at 6'3", and AJ Edgar forward. Don't know anything about her. Sharon Goodman, she's a center. I don't know anything about her, but my understanding is she'll probably, if that's the one I'm thinking of, I think that's the one they were talking about, might get a lot of backup. They don't know exactly who's going to back up Monica this year, but they're looking at her strongly, as they are Addison O'Grady, who's a forward center themselves. And then, of course, the Hannah Stilinki, the forward freshman. So, okay, let's take a look at their schedule. See how bad the schedule are tough. Like we said, they open up with Nebraska Kearney this week, and then they come back and play Southern University on where's the date on that? Oh, Monday, November 7th. Okay, and then on November 10th they play Evansville. If you guys come to that game, it's military appreciation game. That will start at 6:30. Um, After that, the games get a little tougher. They will be at Drake on November Sunday, November 13th. That's Drake is always a tough game for them. When I lived in Des Moines, I went to quite a few of Iowa women's games at Drake, and a lot of times they happen to be on a Sunday or a Saturday, but those were always hotly contested games. Okay, then they got to play on Kansas State. They're going to be at Kansas State. That's an 8 p.m. game Central Standard Time. That on November 17th. On the 20th, they play Belmont. That's Junior Hawk Club Day, so that's probably the day that all the young girls who adore the older college girls who adore them and are big, big, big fans of the women's team will probably go to that game and try to get some pictures and autographs and stuff. Okay. So then there's a tournament called the Phil Knight Legacy College Basketball Tournament. Iowa women start with Oregon State. That's not going to be an easy game. Um, that will be on ESPNU that night. Then the following night, guess what? They either play Duke or Connecticut. I would say my guess would be Connecticut. Although Connecticut's not even usually as tough as they are not usually ranked as high as they are. They're not even ranked high. I mean, they're ranked, but they're not ranked as high as the Hawkeyes are this year. So maybe Iowa would actually be favored in that game. Um, what's the name of the Connecticut girl? I think she's out this season. I think she's done for the season already. Can't think of her name. Very very good player and carries that team. Then there's the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Iowa gets N- North Carolina State. Boy, that logo looks a lot like Stanford. That's what threw me off. Okay. December 10th, they pick on their first Big Ten opponent. December 4th, I mean, which is in Wisconsin at Wisconsin. Then they come. Yeah, they play it coming home to play the Iowa State women. Last year I think the women's Iowa State women got them in Ames. This year I would think the Iowa women would be favored, but anything could happen in a game between those two teams. Then there's the blackout game with Minnesota on December 10th. Okay, then on Sunday, December 18th is the UNI game. It's Girl Scout Day. So okay, Girl Scouts coming to Iowa City. Alrighty. Then there's holiday sweater game with Dartmouth on Wednesday, December 21st. So I'm guessing everybody needs to come and wear their holiday sweater game. And by the way, if you go to any of the Hawk web fan sites for Hawkeye gear, you will find that they got a lot of holiday Hawkeye sweaters for sale. If you're interested in buying one for that game. Um, Bluter's Brunch Appreciation Day is against Purdue on December 29th. On And then in Champaign, we go to Illinois on the 1st of January. How about that? A New Year's Day game, guys. Oh, that's one thing about being a college athlete. You could get stuck playing on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, or January 1st. Some of those days when you'd like to go out and, let's face it, these guys are 18 to 22, 20, maybe 23 years old. These people want to party and have fun too, but they knew when they signed up that they were going to be signing up for, um, possibly playing games at that time. Okay. Then Michigan. You guys remember Michigan? I think beat them once, and then they beat Michigan another time. And if you guys remember, that'll be in Ann Arbor last year. I mean, so that's on January 7th and January 11th. Go Red for the women game. Northwestern and Iowa City. Um, and then followed on January 14th by Penn State. That's celebrating 50 years of Iowa women's athletics. Um, okay. Wow, I'm older than the women's athletic. Isn't that weird? Okay. Then the women's basketball goes up to Michigan State on January 18th, and then January 23rd they go to Ohio State. That game will be televised by ESPN2. I guys, I'm not catching all the. um, yeah, I think there's some. I meant to give you the TV if there's going to be some national stuff, but I missed it. Also on the Fox network, will be Alumni Day against Nebraska on the 28th. Probably where you can see some of your former or current Hawkeyes come back. That really love that really set the tone for the game. Megan Gustafson, I would guess would be there if she's not playing in her own overseas somewhere or something. National Women's and Girls in Sports Day against Maryland on February 2nd. February 5th is Penn State at Penn State. Then at Indiana on February 9th. Sunday, February 12th is the Pink game against Rutgers at home. That's on FS1. Gold out game against Wisconsin at home on February 18th. February 19th is the Nebraska game. And then Maryland on February 21st. Sunday, February 26th is Senior Day at Indiana. They play Indiana on Senior Day at home. And that's their last game, regular season game. So their Senior Day takes place on their last season regular home game. But I'm sure that if things go like they should be playing in the Big Ten tournament. Hopefully, they got this regular season title wrapped up before they play Indiana. But this is a tough league. I mean, Michigan is always tough. Indiana is always tough. Maryland's always tough in this league. And other teams that make usually can make a run would be, um, I think, I don't know if Nebraska's made a run or not. I can't think of anything. But anyway, I just really wanted to get out there a quick preview of what this season was going to look like and the schedule and how much fun that this could be this year. Let's see if there's any news we want to talk about. Okay. I know that Iowa got last Sunday, I believe. I can't think of her name. They got a recruit for the 24 class, and she's a center. So I was trying to look to see if there's anything going on in recruiting, but in all honesty, Iowa can't post it. It has to be posted somewhere else, but it can't be posted here. So I don't know why I was thinking I could um, get it there. All right. Okay, although Iowa was fourth in one poll, they're actually sixth in USA Today's um, preseason poll. Um, and Caitlin Clark is actually the preseason player of the year already, and she's already a preseason All American. So yeah, that's going to be great, guys. If you guys haven't seen Caitlin play, if you have yet to watch the women, and want to know what all the buzz is, that's the buzz right there. Caitlin Clark. I think she's one of the most exciting players to ever play, and I think you guys should get out there this year, support the team. So watch them on TV if you can't get to the game. Um, they're looking for large, huge crowds. They usually get them. And so that's my preview of the 22-23 women's season. Men's basketball is coming, and so is wrestling. I just wanted to get the women's preview out right now because they open their preseason this weekend, and I believe the men's are opening theirs up real soon too. So I'll get looking into that. Let me look real quick. I can tell you real quick when the men are opening. I know because it's really hard sometimes when we're transitioning into basketball and wrestling season when we're still playing football. And we got five more, hopefully six more football games to go. Okay. Men's basketball schedule. Okay. Monday night, the men open their season against Truman State, and then I think that's an exhibition game. So what I will do, guys, is I will try to get a men's basketball preview out by Sunday. By Sunday sometime. So in the meantime, enjoy the Iowa women's game Friday. If you're in Iowa City, and then go over to the stadium and watch Iowa beat Northwestern in football. We're overdue to beat Northwestern in Iowa City. They've gotten us like 3 or 4 times in a row in Iowa City. It's time. If we're gonna get a win, this is where we get the win, guys. We're gonna get it against Northwestern. All right, I'm out. Hope you enjoyed these 20 minutes and go Hawks.